easy card games like family games, things like that, board games, which seems like a nice time for a shameless plug.
Yeah, we got our game, Stack the Scoops. It's not a travel themed game, but it's a great game to travel with because it's small. So we'll put the link to that in the show notes.
We also created that while Worldschooling.
This is Worldschooling Q&A. I'm Astrid, creator of The Wandering Daughter. As a traveling family, we've spent 4 years traveling full-time to over 18 countries and 6 continents. Wherever we go, we try to learn as much as we can about the countries and cultures we visit. While we didn't coin the term, we like to call this Worldschooling, using the world as our classroom. Each week, my husband Clint and I will answer one question about Worldschooling and share our experiences of traveling the world with our kids. Ready to get started? Great! Let's dive in.
All right, so today's question is, what are some great travel gifts for kids? So this is a good one. And I think, it's good for the holidays, but also good at any time of the year, especially if there's like a birthday coming up or something like that.
Or if you know anyone that's about to start traveling in the next couple months.
That is true. Yeah. I like to break it down. So I have an article on my site that lists like some of my favorite travel gifts that I recommend. But I like to break it down into like age group because I think like it, depending on the age, your interests will be different. And there are also different levels of like, engagement with travel that your kids will do depending on their age. So we're going to focus this episode or the structure of this episode and by age group. So under 4, let me backtrack a bit and just say, identify the age groups. So under 4, 5 to 11, and then 12 to 15 and 16 and over. So we'll go into depth about like, kinds of gifts that we recommend for that age. So starting with like under 4, this is the age where kids are still just like, learning or getting introduced to things. And so the gifts that we recommend are things that will like introduce kids to the world. So what are some things that you think would be good for an under 4-year-old?
Probably books, like picture books, board books. That seems the easiest.
Yeah.
It feels like there's a million of those. Any gift shop you go into, every airport in the world has board books for that city. So yeah.
Yeah. Or just like books that are like around the world type of books. Yeah. Things that have like a lot of pictures and colors to kind of get the kids' attention. Something that we like to do is visiting children's museums. So if you go and buy a subscription for your kid to a children's museum, I guess this would be more like a family gift, but taking the kid to the children's museum. Because a lot of them will have like parts of the museum that focus on like global things or like places around the world, and they can try on different types of clothes, or they'll like have play food of the place in that world. So that gets them like used to the idea of just like exploring in the world.
It's not really a gift that you can buy in advance, but I would say if you can get a gift certificate, maybe online or something, if you or someone is going to a location that has this, but KidZania, I think is a great for all ages of kids, maybe max out at 10.
Yeah.
But for younger kids and older, that's a great thing. And they have KidZanias all over the world, including the United States. So
yeah, I also have an article about KidZania on my website. So check that out as well. Moving on to ages 5 to 11, I think at this age, they're already starting, they might be already in school if you're choosing to like send them to school, or you've started homeschooling them. And so they're like primed for learning. It's like what you want to do at this age is just like feed that curiosity about the world. So given that, what would be some gifts that you would suggest for them?
Well, on the younger end of the spectrum, I think reading books, like books to get them reading. We actually taught our youngest son to read while we were world schooling, so that's a good one. Easy card games like family games, things like that. Board games, which seems like a nice time for a shameless plug.
Yeah, we got our game Stack the Scoops. It's not a travel themed game, but it's a great game to travel with because it's small. It's so we'll put the link to that in the show notes.
We also created that while world schooling.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
What else?
There's this great like subscription box called Little Passports, and they come like at a monthly. You can get them. I think you can get them like just one time, or you can get a monthly thing. But they will focus on specific countries, and then it's like different things related to that country, and then the kids can learn about it and stuff. So that's a good one to do.
Yeah. I think also, especially if they're on the higher end of that 5 to 11 range, a travel journal, it might be a great time to start getting them into journaling. They are seeing lots of things, they're observing, they're probably feeling emotions. I think is a great time to get them into journaling. And also as parents, if you are not journaling yet on this trip, might be a good time for you to get into journaling as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So then let's move on to the next age group, 12 to 15. So now you're getting into like the tween and teen ages. Obviously, they're starting to like want to exert more independence in their lives. So the gifts that you want to give them are things that will like help foster that independence. What would you say would be a good gift?
I think so. Before I say that, we're kind of skipping over many electronics like game consoles or laptops or tablets or things like that, largely because a lot of that, especially at this age, the 12 to 15, they probably already have that because of schooling reasons or because that's something that's already part of your family. So we're not really addressing any of those things. But another electronic that isn't on that list that is perfect for this age and above actually is a camera. And what's wonderful is you can get pretty inexpensive digital camera. You can also find pretty inexpensive waterproof digital cameras.
Yeah.
And it gives the kids great opportunity to kind of just document on their own of the things that they are seeing.
Yeah.
It's especially important, like if your kid doesn't have a phone or anything else that can take pictures, like this is a great option.
Right. Yeah. I know both our older son, he really loved having a camera when we were traveling together. And then more recently, our daughter just loves like taking pictures of things that she thinks it's cool and then posting them online. So yeah, I like the idea of giving like cooking classes, for instance, especially like if you can find a cooking class in your home city that's focused on like some kind of global cuisine, you and your child can do that together, and that'll be a nice bonding experience. And if you can't, if you're not able to have access to that, there's a great company called Global Grubs, and they have like cooking kits that they will send you, and you can make things at home. So one that I did was like a mochi making kit, and that was so fun, and we've been like enjoying, Japanese style mochi ice cream with our meals in the last few weeks or months. So that's been nice.
I think another one, and this one might be hard to travel with. So maybe this is more of you're back home for the holidays or post trip or something like that. But I think like a personalized photo book or a photo book of specific travels can really help capture that moment and also can help them remember it more as they get older. Because this is, one of the things with the kids being kids, as they get older, some of these memories will fade. So having some sort of photo book that's fresh and really try to keep it specific to small chunks of your travels. So even if you have to do multiple books, that's great because then you get the depth of photos, which I think is the important part. Sometimes you try to do too many, it just kind of is just a little highlight of each thing, but that's not really the memory triggering moment. What about above 16 Or
Yeah,
about
so
16?
16 and over. So now I think the focus should be like encouraging them to be independent. So like, when they were teens, you're kind of like giving them the skills, building that up. And now it's like, hey, if you want to take a solo trip, or something like that, like here's something that would be helpful for you for that. Or if you ever, if you want to like explore the world or experience the world on your own, here's something that's going to encourage you to do that. So what would be something that you would recommend?
I think I'll stick with the electronics theme. I think you graduate from a camera to something like a GoPro. If they're really into video or they want to do some more adventurous things, or if your kids are like starting to snorkel or something like that, I think a GoPro's a fun option. That does start to get a little bit more expensive, but they're indestructible. So that's a great option.
Sometimes like language learning classes are good to give, especially if it's like something that's a little bit more fun and not just like, a dry boarding class or something like that.
Like peer-to-peer, maybe like with like a peer group language course would be fun too, because there's so much interaction with peers at that point.
Yep. You can also like pay for them to go on a trip on their own.
Yeah.
Like that would be a great gift. And it could be something small. Like they don't have to go around the world or anything like that. But it could be like, go solo and fly to grandma's house on your own or something like that.
I think also giving them autonomy to plan whole sections of the trip, even if it's for the whole family, but them being able to plan whole sections of it. Worldschooling family friend of ours let their daughter basically plan an entire trip with the mom and her.
Yeah.
And that was
she
really
like
cool.
the mom didn't know what to expect. And something small that's kind of fun is just like a personal passport holder. That way you can choose something that is like kind of fits their personality a little bit.
I think any luggage accessories, like anything where because up until this point, largely the parents have been picking basically what their luggage is going to be like, what all their things they're going to bring with them.
Yeah.
So giving them some autonomy over kind of them choosing. Yeah. Anything else?
I think that's it. As I mentioned before, I have like a article on my website about travel gifts. So you can check that out for even more ideas of what to gift your kids to encourage them to travel.
Yeah. Good.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Worldschooling Q&A with Astrid and Clint. Be sure to check out the show notes for any links we mentioned in the episode, and visit my website, thewanderingdaughter.com, to dive deeper into worldschooling and family travel.
If you like what you hear, please consider supporting The Wandering Daughter on Patreon. It really helps us out and keeps the show going. You'll also get exclusive perks like episode transcripts, additional resources, access to office hours with us, and more. You can find us on Spotify or the podcast app of your choice. If you're listening to this on Spotify, you can tap the bell icon to get notified when new episodes come out. And if you like this episode, please give us a 5-star review. It really helps new people find our show.
If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe and tap the bell icon to get notified of new episodes. You can follow me on Instagram @WanderDaughter or follow The Wandering Daughter on Facebook. Links to these are also in the show notes. If you have any worldschooling questions you'd like us to answer for future episodes, feel free to throw them in the comments or send us a message at thewanderingdaughter.com/podcast. Until next time, happy travels!
Bye!